Hello and welcome to Bourbon Sauce. We get questions periodically as far as what gear we use to do our podcast. If you don't know, my name is Dan, and I'm drinking some E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof at the moment. So let me take a sip of this real quick. Yep, lovely as I remember. So anyway, right now, current camera setups are either with my iPhone or with this VizioLink, some cheap knockoff Logitech camera that I got on Amazon. I'll put all the links to the equipment in the description below. As far as a laptop goes, I'm using an older laptop for right now. It's my old HP Envy that I got years ago. It's got a Core i5 processor in it. It doesn't do the best when it comes to doing editing right now, so I'm probably going to upgrade to like a MacBook Pro. I kind of steer away for a few years from Mac just because the company that I work with, they weren't very Mac friendly. We'll just put it that way. So I had to go back to like a Windows based computer for a while. As far as our mixer that we're using, I'm using the Rode Podcaster Pro 2. I love this thing. It's got a lot of great features in it. You can see a ton of reviews out there on the internet about this thing, but I really like it just for the simple fact that it condenses everything into one mixer for me. So if I want to do sound effects, if I want to do voice effects, if I want to put in our intro music, or any other little effects, I could do it right from this pad. Also allows me to mute or bring in callers. I can bring in Bluetooth on my phone. I could hook it up to the mixer and have it wired in. I could have people call in on, like, say, the Riverside app that we use for most of our meetings now. Before that, we were just doing vocal only, and I was just using Audacity, which was pretty good, but it was very limited. And I didn't like how it worked out because I couldn't really do video with that. So with Riverside, it gives me an all-in-one kind of a thing where I can actually parse out the video or the audio or bring it all together into one finished product. And they've made improvements throughout. We've been doing this for like 2 months now, and in a 2 months time frame, they've added features which are great, like editing your um, closed caption, for example. Sometimes this thing doesn't translate exactly the way it should, and I think it's just a matter of it fine tuning itself and getting used to other people and the way they speak. Sometimes I mumble and I don't enunciate enough, so that's where it gets a little garbled. But now that you have the feature to actually edit it, I love that. So if those of you are looking for something that is all encompassing, I would say use riverside.fm. Go on there, check it out, use the free trial for a little bit, see how it works for you. It worked so good for me that I actually paid for the pro plan, which was only like $280 or 280 something a year. So it's, to me, it's worth it just because of how powerful that is all in one little package versus having to use like Adobe Pro and Adobe Logic and all the other different Adobe software. It's way cheaper. So I like it. You can also export from Riverside.fm to Adobe directly if you have Adobe, which helps you with other fancy stuff. But so far, what I end up doing is I'll put together what I want and I'll edit out everything that I need from the Riverside, and then I'll export that video and audio to, say, right now I'm using Clipchamp because it was cheap and free, and then I can add in our audio visual intro and outro, as well as any other little nitnoid cute little screens of snapshots of pictures or whatever other little clip art, and that seems to work pretty good for me for now. I think in the future I might upgrade to Adobe software or something that's more compatible with MacBook once I get a MacBook Pro. We'll see what happens there because I've heard a lot of people using different things with the Macs versus PC. So we'll see how that evolves. And so far, you guys haven't been able to tell, our podcast has been evolving slowly. We've gone from just strictly audio to just us two dudes talking to each other to inviting guests to finally getting on video and branching out and getting bigger guests. And we're hoping to have more on the horizon. So if there's anybody you guys want to see us collab with, go ahead and put that in the comments section. If there's celebrities that you maybe think would be willing to work with us, reach out to them and tell them, hey, go check out Bourbon Sauced. It might be something you're into, might not be, but you never know. As far as using the iPhone, I've still got an iPhone 12 and the video is okay on it. It's not the best, but with this Riverside, I can always do low data mode, which puts everything in 720p anyway. So even if I'm trying to do 4K on my phone, it'll bring it back down to 720 or 1080. So that way everything kind of meshes together better. And I've noticed there's a little less latency when we do that low data mode too, because not everybody that we bring on has really good internet where they're at. And the great thing about the Riverside.fm is it actually records locally to that person and then uploads that video and audio feed. So even if it was choppy on our side, what happens is then it goes into the servers for Riverside, and then everything looks and sounds a lot better than you would expect it to be. But I'm going to upgrade when I get back from my trip, and I'll probably get by then. They'll probably have like the iPhone 16 something. Who knows what it's going to be? Some other variable. But I've been seeing a lot of problems with the 15 and it having overheating issues right now. So I'm hoping that like when they come out with the next iteration of 15s, they'll have that figured out, or maybe they'll do a software update like they've done in the past to fix that overheating battery problem. But so far I kind of just mix and match. As far as what Ryan uses, he's got a Samsung, so it makes the editing a little finicky. Instead of him doing landscape mode on his phone, he has to do horizontal mode, because of just the way that the formatting is between Samsung and iPhone. It's a little weird. So as far as that goes, there's some slight incompatibilities there. When it comes to people that call in, we've noticed that there's some issues when they use earbuds, like either Apple Pods, if they're not Apple Pod Pros. Um, Seems to be a little bit of an issue with hearing them. It's a little faint, but I can usually, after we get the audio, I can usually do post production editing and bring that volume back up so you guys can hear it. And that's something else I'm trying to finagle with here is getting used to this mixer board. As far as the difference between Audacity, the preamps on this board were good enough for Audacity. With Riverside, I'm noticing that I have to crank it just a little bit more than I normally would, so our audio comes through a little bit more crisp for you guys. If you guys are not noticing that, let us know in the comment section, so that way we can kind of bump that volume even more so you guys can hear it. Because I do know that there's a little difference between our intro music and outro music compared to what we're saying in the podcast. So I'm still trying to fine tune that, because I mean we've only been doing this for a few months with video and audio together. So as far as the microphones that you hear, it's the Rode PodMics, and these ones are really good for our use here. They were probably middle high end as far as price point went. I'll put again the links down below. Everything I pretty much got for stands, cabling, everything was through Amazon. So I'll put all those links below so you guys can click on them. The headphones, I went with the Sony's. I forget exactly which one they are. Let me look real quick. It says that they're the dynamic stereo headphones, the MDR 7506 Professionals. And I really like these because, again, our audio comes back through and it's very clear. So for me, these are really good budget professional headphones. You don't have to go buy Bose or anything Sennheiser or however you say that. But these ones seem to be pretty good for what we're doing here. And as far as lighting, we haven't gotten into pretty good lighting kits yet, but I want to get some. So if anybody's got suggestions that they use for their lighting, I would appreciate that in the comment section. And then as far as sound dampening, luckily the room that we're in doesn't have a lot of echo because there's the carpet, there's the couches, and the chairs. So those kind of tend to absorb some of the sound for us naturally. So I don't have to put a lot of that sound dampening on the walls like you see in some people's studios. So basically, we converted the spare bedroom in my house into our studio. But I think that pretty much wraps up everything that we've got going on for our stands. Are also Amazon. I think they're just the typical Amazon stuff that you can find. Same with the stand that I use. It's just like a generic small telescoping Um, I'll try to show you guys this with the phone, but it's just a cheapo little stand there. And then same with my setup here where I can mess with the mixer and then the computer. You can see what's going on. I can see kind of and when we have guests, I can see their face on there. I'm looking to improve this with better cameras. I'm thinking about maybe the Logitech. They've got those 3 camera systems that sync together, streamlines that process a little bit better. But there's where Ryan normally sits in our bourbon collection that we've got going on that's slowly expanding. And then, of course, there's me. But if you guys like this video and you want to see more, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, share it to your friends, and you can find us on all kinds of different social media platforms right now. Speaking of which, I just signed us up and got us on Amazon Music. So Amazon Music Podcasts, we're now on there as well, and Spotify, Apple, YouTube, TikTok, and you can email us at bourbonsauced@gmail.com. Hopefully you guys come back and you enjoyed this video. Until next time, get sauced and cheers.